It,
There we
okay, so
go.
we recording now. So let's get into it. I'll wait for you to come back, Deshawn.
Yeah, just closing that door.
All right, so Mike, just to fill you in, so the name of this podcast will be Time Out with Chad Bell. So just to kind of give you a quick rundown of what this show is kind of going to be like, it's going to be pure basketball, pure skill development. I want to do this show so I can open up that world to players, even mostly, not mostly, but a big part of it, the younger players, because they got to see and they got to understand different journeys, not just that perfect journey, not just that, oh, I played AAU, then I went to college, one and done. That's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? Some guys go to college. You went to junior college.
Correct.
Some guys go to junior college. Some guys go to 4-year school. Some guys now, some guys D2. Some guys, now they got this whole thing. Guys are going to play for the G League Ignite. And, you were the first guy getting drafted out of the G League back in 08. So I want to open up this world within this show to help young players, but also to help coaches. Like I told the producer of the show, Lori, I get tons of emails from guys. Hey, coach, I see you've been in player development with the LA Clippers. I want to get in. What's the day-to-day like? What's it like being an NBA development coach? So I go over some of those things. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And then also, Deshawn, he's been working and developing players for years. He's been around the game for years. He's had tons of high school players, high school All-American, college All-Americans, guys who played overseas, played professionally, played in the NBA, so on and so forth. So that's just a rundown of the show. So I'll just open it up. Just kind of tell us a little bit. You don't have to go from first page to last page, but just kind of go into your journey. I know that I believe you started out, you had a very short stint at Iowa State. Some things went on there, and then that pushed you into the G League. And then obviously you got drafted in 2008, traded on draft night, ended up with the LA Clippers. Kind of go into your stories, especially your beginnings, going into the NBA, becoming an NBA player.
Well, Coach, if you don't mind me interjecting here, I know we're right at the beginning, but can we start off just lightly? Mike, tell us just a little bit about where you from, right? The city, where you from? What's it like? What's basketball like for you? Where you from? Where you grew up? Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that city helped mold you in your journey.
For sure. Well, first and foremost, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My basketball career kind of, started at a very early age. But, in Milwaukee, man, it's a tough place to kind of navigate out of. The area, the zip code where I'm from, 53206, is like one of the worst places in Milwaukee to be raised as a Black man, the highest incarceration rate, the highest violent rate, Black on Black crime. So that was just like the conditions that were how I was raised, and just my surroundings. Basketball became that outlet for me. Basketball was a space to where, it didn't matter. I was raised, by a single mother. So it sometimes, it was hard. Like sometimes I'll come home, lights was out. But basketball gave me that space to where nothing else mattered around my world, you know, that I was actually living in and growing in the space that I was in. Like basketball was that safe haven. On the basketball course, there were no guns on the court. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to fear my sneakers getting stolen once I walked off the court. I didn't have to, my jacket, me being snatched up out of my jacket. Like I didn't have to worry about like those incidents once I got on that court. I didn't have to worry about, the relationship I had with my father and the abandonment that he kind of left me with and my family with. Like I was able to transform that energy into basketball. Basketball became that space for me. So that's a little bit about, where I'm from. I was like an undersized guard growing up. I didn't play AAU basketball on a big circuit. I wasn't one of those guys. All of the higher named guys that was in my class, they all kind of like linked up and they played together. I was more so of that like that outcast. I wanted to play against those guys. I didn't want to go and join that talent. I just always had this, this underdog mentality to where I wanted to beat those guys. Even if I wasn't able to beat them, I wanted to compete. I wanted them to be like, oh, it's something about him. So that was kind of the mentality that I had growing up. I didn't really play for, a high circuit AAU team. I played for the grassroots teams. You know what I'm saying?
Which AAU programs did you play with throughout high school?
Throughout high school, I grew up playing with this program. The head coach was named Curtis Weathers. It was called Stay in the Game in Milwaukee. And, Curtis actually, helped me get into junior college and he helped me get into Iowa State. He ended up helping me get into Sacramento with the trainer and the agent who placed me in the G League.
Okay.
So that was kind of how I really, kept everything grassrooted. You know what I'm saying?
So going back to your AAU roots, you said you didn't play for the premier teams. You wasn't on those major circuits, the high level shoe company circuits. You was more so with a mom and pop.
Yeah, mom and pop's
when you
league.
go to those tournaments, for the audience that don't understand this, you was playing in back gyms a lot of times.
Oh yeah. We was never the main attraction. We did this one tournament that I could remember. It was the Rumble in the Bronx.
Okay.
That was the tournament to where it really like clicked for me. And this was like a high school tournament. I think I was a freshman I was maybe a sophomore going into my junior year. And we actually played for DeJuan Wagner's team. Okay. So our AAU team actually, played under DeJuan Wagner's team, and we played in the Rumble in the Bronx. And this is where it kind of like clicked for me, personally, and just got to able to see what it was like playing on a higher circuit on a higher level team. But that was the only exposure that I got. It was my first time on the airplane, my first time leaving Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it just really like exposed me to the culture, to the business, which I didn't really know too much about. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of let me know that, I can hang with some of the best talents in other cities. And this New York, where it was a mecca of basketball at this time. So being able to compete, LeBron James was there, and West was there with Nike. Sebastian was there. Huh?
You said West was there with Nike? Which West?
It's the West, the guy that's with Nike that helped get LeBron his deal with Nike.
Oh, Worldwide West.
Worldwide West, yes, West, right?
Shout out to Worldwide West.
Straight up. So, we was able to meet with him, talk to him. You know what I'm saying? I forgot who we seen, but one of my teammates never forget that story. I think it was Rayford Austin. We seen Rayford Austin, and I'm like, this, you know, when and one, this is when and one mixtapes was everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we walking past him, and I'm like, man, I think I could take him one-on-one, right? So my teammates like, yo, what was that you were saying? Like, what was that you said? Man, I ain't say nothing. You know, like, I nutted up right there in the moment, but I always used to be like, man, I think I can cross the arc up. Like, I got that same like bop in my game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was like my first time really getting to, you know what I'm saying, test this thing. If I was calling myself wanting to do it at a professional level, that was like the stage for me to really like expose myself to. And I think I kind of handled it real well. But, you know, besides that moment, I kind of catapulted that energy that it took from there, and I took it into my high school year. Going into my high school's junior year, our team was picked to go upstate. We ended up losing to like the second round of the state championship. We didn't get there. But I had 3 seniors on my team, and I was kind of like playing like, you know, a true point guard role.
Right.
Like this was the time in the league to where it was forbidden for the point guard to just come down and shoot, or the point guard to just break his man down. Like,
right. You have to run the team.
yeah, I had to run the team. I had real shooters. I had a shooting guard. I had a small forward that could really shoot. So I had to come down and orchestrate the offense, make sure the big man had his touches before I can go get my little 8 to 10 points, right? But I did that role my junior year and senior year. It was only me and a center from my junior year seniors. So the other guys had to fall in line. So I just knew I played the course. And my senior year, I was a city conference player of the year. I averaged like 30 points. I was playing for the all-state team. And that's what really got me to go to a full scholarship in basketball to junior college.
That's awesome. Mike, I had a question for you. Like in between that time from when you had you said you first made that trip out to play in the Rumble in the Bronx, and you kind of saw how you measured up against some national talent. What things changed for you when you came back home as far as your approach to the game and your preparation?
A lot of things changed, man. I got it. My coach handled me real rough, right? And this was the lesson that I took from the Bronx. And it didn't even come from me. It came from my best friend, who kind of was the reason why I was on his team. He was actually a whole lot better than me. He was developed. He was like physically, he was like 6'4", like 220, could shoot, could jump, could dunk. And we 14, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I was just like, I was faster than everybody. I was like the quickest thing out there. So that was like my advantage. But I never valued the ball. I would turn the ball over a lot. But my thing was, if I turn it over, I know I'm going to get a steal on the defensive end, so I'll make it back up. That was like my whole mentality, right? But my coach, he was like, non-tolerance for turnovers. He like, let's get a shot up. So every time I would turn the ball over, he would like immediately take me out the game. Like, it wasn't no wait for no sub. He like basically like stopping the game, sitting me down on the bench. And it's like, you know, we losing games by like 3-4 points because of this fact. And he's just like making sure that I get this. And I wasn't getting it for like the first 2 games until my best friend, rest in peace, Devin Venerable, he came to me like, you don't see what he doing? I'm like, nah. He like, every time you turn the ball over, he taking you out the game. I'm like, I'm ready to quit. I'm ready to go back to Milwaukee. I'm ready to fight the coach. Like, I just wasn't understanding like why he taking me out. And we lose a game by 4 points. I'm like, man, come on now. That's my little extra little 4 points. We win by 2. We win by 4. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like out there in that tournament, I got to really understand like valuing the basketball and being a true point guard and just controlling that, right? So what you were saying, DC, that's what I was able to like learn. And once I was able to value that ball, being that point guard, it was like, now the coaches started to trust me just a little bit more. So that was one of the things that I say that I valued the most, and I was able to take from that competition. like I was already in like competitor mode and competition mode, and just like I was a real gym rat. Like if I wasn't in the gym, I'm at every playground. Like that was my trainer. You know what I'm saying? Like playing against the older guys in competition, like those was my trainers growing up. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I took from that is, just studying. I was able to like really start to study in the game. I started to look at different point guards. I started to really like study like Isaiah Thomas, the real OG Isaiah Thomas, right?
Mhm.
Started to study, John Stockton, Steve Nash. Like I started to study point guards and just notice how they would just control the ball. Even if they didn't have a shot or they didn't have a pass, to keep that dribble alive and not jump and make those, simple, meaningless turnovers. So that was one thing that kind of stuck with me to that moment. I'd rather take a bad shot and get my field goal percentage to be messed up than to get a turnover. So that was something that, I took from that period, and it kind of, transformed over to, going into my junior year, and then into my senior year. I was really able to, really use it. Like going into
Mhm.
my junior year, I was kind of experimenting with it a little bit, but my senior year, kind of everything kind of came together, and then I grew like 6 inches too. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I was like
You went
5'5".
from what to what? Where'd you go from, and then where'd you end up at height wise?
I was like 5'4", 5'5" as like a sophomore. Then going into
Wow.
my junior year, I grew like 3 inches.
Right.
So I was like at 5'6", 5'7". And then my senior year, I'm like 6'1",
Wow.
long. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to dunk. I'm starting to get on the rim and everything. You know what I'm saying? I was starting to grow into my length. So like with that happening, and then my IQ just picking up a little bit more, I mean, it did wonders for me. I was
Did that experience that you had being able to step out on the AAU circuit, being coached the way you were, your coach trying to get you to understand, like you said, about the turnovers,
Mhm.
what did that do for your mentality and your thoughts of yourself as where you could go as a player?
I mean, I think that was everything. You know what I'm saying? I think that now that I think, I know that was like the turning point, to where it was like, oh, I'm not just good. Like,
I'm nice.
yeah,
I can hoop.
I could really compete on a very high level. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then it was just coachable, just being coachable. That was one thing my coaches would, what I'm saying, they would always, say to me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that just like me being older now and understanding where it came from, like I didn't have a father in my life. So listening to a coach, especially a black man, like it was just hard. It was just hard for me. So I was fighting, I was resisting, but listening to my best friend who played that big brother, because I'm the oldest in my family. I have an older sister, but as far as the next in line is me, and then I have two younger brothers. So he played that role to where I was able to listen to it, and he like, man, they teaching you the game, they telling you the right thing to do. So now knowing that little resistance that I had in me, that animosity that I had from my father not being in my life, and that avoidance, that misunderstanding that I had, I appreciate the way that I was coached, because that turned not only something you know, in my game on the court, it also kind of like helped me off the court as well, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, and
Those are
that's what I think is the major thing. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us, we're gonna be able to, with this talent, with the skills, with the trainers and everything, we're gonna be able to pretty much handle anything that comes on the court. It's
Right.
what we do with the rest of that time that we off the court, and learning how to manage that, and knowing ourselves, not to put ourselves in situations that are jeopardize, right? This
Right.
talent, this opportunity that we got to play this game at a very high level.
Right, absolutely. I definitely agree with you, and I can relate to you growing up in the inner city, single family household.
Mhm.
You know, no father around, and now you got these coaches coaching you,
Mhm.
but you still have that mentality of, should I trust this guy? Does he
Mhm.
got my best interest?
Yeah.
And I understand it takes time, and it's a very pivotal point in a young man's life, especially when he's, you know, trying to attain certain goals, even if it's not sports,
Mhm.
and you begin to be around male figures. So you know, it sounds to me it became you came to a turning point where you began to trust.
Yep.
Would you agree that once you began to trust, that's where everything kind of started to come together for yourself?
Yeah. I think that was the major turning point right there. I kind of started to like the saying that they say now is like trust in the process. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I was always like a hard worker, so but I started to really see what I was putting in, it was coming out with the game. You know what I'm saying? But that was my biggest thing is just trusting, those around me, especially the coaches, and learning the game and learning the, you know what I'm saying, learning how to play it the right way, right? Um, I think that was one of the most pivotal points in my early career right there,
Mhm.
going to that.
I'd say I'd share. Obviously, we hear the story a lot of guys, coming up in the inner city, no father figure, having to, go through their maturation process, as far as it goes to, developing those relationships with some coaches and being coachable and how to be a young man and all that. Which obviously is admirable for those who are able to find their way through. Um, um, I would say that, for a lot of athletes in general, through my experience, because my backstory is just a little bit different because, I grew up in a two-parent household for the majority. Um, but what I would, say that definitely is very similar is, you know, um, whether you allow, who you allow to guide you, through your journey, right?
Right.
Which is funny because, my dad played at a high level and he coached. Dad actually coached David Robinson. But for some odd reason, when my dad wanted to tell me something about basketball, I was not trying to listen to this dude, right? and and the fact that kids don't listen to their parents, right,
Yeah.
kept me in business for 20 plus years as a player development coach, right? And which is interesting, right? The people that feed you, birth you, all that other good stuff. But they're also the same ones that tell you to do your homework, do your chores, clean your room. And now they have something to say about your extracurriculars, and kids really don't want to hear it from them. And so the fact that you did have somebody, in your life that you trusted, it sounded like it was your best friend that
Mhm.
could kind of help bring these things together for you, when you were, when you were in high school playing AAU, and even it sounded like, even in high school and college, you might have had some rifts with some coaches. But was that same friend that was there for you, through AAU, was he also the person that helped bring things together for you when you were in college and going into your pro career?
Yes, this the same guy who I was talking about. He helped me in high school, and one of the main reasons, and then we're gonna get into the college and everything else.
Okay.
But speaking upon him, like he was he tore his ACL um going into our junior year. So he didn't play the season, but he wasn't granted that year back, right? So our AAU coach was trying to get him in high school going into our senior year. He couldn't play because he injured himself and they wouldn't grant him that eligibility back. So our AAU coach was trying to get him to go play professional basketball, right? They didn't think I was ready after I came from Iowa State and I lost my basketball scholarship, and they still didn't think I was ready then, but they thought he was ready in high school when we were 16, 17 years old, right? So with that just awareness and knowing that that connection was out there, he was the one who was like, Mike, I'm telling you, bro, like he didn't want to leave. He was the man of his, of his family, was the breadwinner, was in the streets too. You know what I'm saying? So he was just making it happen for his family. So he didn't want to leave. But as I went on to junior college, I went to Chipola College in Marietta, Florida, in the Panhandle. It was him who was like, man, look, don't come back to Milwaukee's for the summer, bro. Like, stay out there. Like, you need to work on your jump shot. Your jump shot is not consistent enough, you know what I'm saying, for you to even be home here. Like, we robbing, we doing stuff to try to eat today. Like, you don't even need to be around this. Like, stay down there, work on your jump shot. And that's exactly what I was doing. Like, I spent both of my summers at my junior college. I did school, I did both summer sessions in junior college. I made sure that I graduated with my associates. Like, I basically didn't have school my whole sophomore year, you know what I'm saying, at my junior college. So it was like strictly like I was just in the gym. Like, I'm making sure I'm making 1,000 shots every day. Like, while my teammates is, they going back home. Like, I had 7 teammates from Chicago. Everybody was going back home. A couple of guys from Florida, I had a couple of guys from Atlanta. Everybody went back home. Like, I was literally like the only person on campus.
That's major. That's
bro,
major.
I would, and that's what trusting, you know what I'm saying? Like, I trusted my coach. I trusted the whole process. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna make 1,000 shots a day. It got to a point to where I'm making 500 shots before noon. I'm gonna make 500 shots before 6 o'clock, and then I'm doing a night session. I was doing 3 a days in junior college, just working,
putting in that work,
right?
Putting in that work.
My first like my junior college, like when I was there, we lost like 7 games in 2 years.
Okay.
We finished my first year. We finished like 4th in the whole national junior college. We finished 4th in the whole rankings. We lost my sophomore year. We lost at the buzzer going into the national tournament. We lost in the state championship at the buzzer. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of ended that college experience, but my junior college experience. But I really understood the work that it took and the sacrifice, right? Like the sacrifice. And it came from my best friend. He like, bro, like, ain't no need for you to be around us. We drinking, getting high every day. Like, no, bro, stay out there and work on your jump shot. Like, we would literally like watch full Wake Forest Chris Paul games. And he like, if you can't control and demand your team like this, like, come on home then. We got something for you to do. You know what I'm saying? If you can't run the floor like that, we got something for you to do here, but this ain't what you want. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that was like the beginning process of me really starting to understand the game and really understanding the work that it took. Like, going from my freshman year into my sophomore year, like when I say like I was just shooting all jump shots, like I knew I can break my man down off the court. I've been doing that since, you know what I'm saying, 5-6 years old, like breaking my man down and being faster than anybody. That was easy. But being able to now knock this shot because people were sagging back on me, like daring me to shoot. Now I'm able to knock this shot down. Nobody want to guard me, you know what I'm saying, chest to chest, man to man. Every dribble, nobody wanted to guard me like that, but now I can close that distance consistently, knock the shot down. Now they had to pick their poison.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that though. You hitting on some stuff, man. First of all, for the people out there, if you don't know, the national JC life is way different.
Oh my God.
Oh my
What's the name
goodness.
of your, tell us the name of your junior college again?
Chipola College.
Chipola College. That's in
Yeah.
Florida, I believe, right?
Yep. It's in
Small
Marietta.
town.
It's a very small town. Marietta,
Not
Florida.
much to do out there.
Ain't nothing to do out there.
Yeah,
It's like 40 minutes. It's like 40, like 30, 40 minutes from Florida State, FAMU. You know what I'm saying? It's
They're
in
in the
North Florida.
second best. They are in the second best junior college conference in the country, right behind the WJCAC, where South Plains reigns supreme. Shout out to South Plains Junior College, the #1 junior college in
South
basketball.
Plains. South Plains. Shout out to Jermaine Washington, class of 03. That's my boy. I played with him at the University of Nevada.
Okay.
Yeah, so that college, that junior college life is very much different. So you hit on some major gyms. You stay like a lot of players, and I know this from being in college. Deshawn, you know it. You play college ball. You go to a semester, a summer session, and usually what you want to do is you want to go to the crib.
Yeah.
You know, and one of my biggest mistakes when I was in college, that's what I would do. Now I would still work, but your focus is different when you stay on campus. You say you stayed on campus and you put in work. You was making 1,000 a day. You got to the point where you were making 500 before lunch, 500 after lunch, 500, before or after dinner. That type of work, it takes a huge commitment, man, a very huge commitment. And I just want to talk about that because it's very important for you young hoopers out there to understand that, Mike, you didn't make it to the NBA by luck. Sure. You got there and was a draft pick because of the work you put in. So you had your success that catapulted you to the point where you had the opportunity at your junior college. How did you structure your days to get to the point where, hey, I'm going to shoot or I'm going to make 1,000 shots per day?
It started off with like, I would wake up 6 o'clock in the morning. My coach's house was probably a mile and a half off campus. I would run to his house. He just had his daughter. So his daughter was just being born and he's, had his family. I would jog to his house, do my little knock on his window to wake him up, make sure he was woke. Then I would run back on campus to the gym. He would arrive to the gym probably 30 minutes after me. But that was my ritual. So it's like 5:15, I'm running to the coach's house. Get there about 5:30, 5:40, waking him up. I'll book it back to the gym, back on campus to the gym. Wait for him. And this is in Florida. It's already 90 degrees.
1,000 degrees out there.
Humid.
So that's my warm-up. I'm sweating. I got on a hoodie. I'm making sure that I'm getting in shape and I'm getting to the gym, waking the coach up, getting there, get to the gym. And when I say we just went through all shooting drills, I'm picking the ball up out the chair, making sure I'm in my shooting position every time. Like we, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no shooting machines. It wasn't none of this stuff.
You didn't have a shooting machine?
Man, we ain't had no shooting machine.
You didn't have your personal trainer flying out there?
And
they had Chipola, not South Plains.
You feel me? So like I had to get some kids around, like, man, come rebound for me. They putting the balls in the chairs and I'm just getting it. And it's 100 degrees, it's probably 140 in the gym. You know what I'm saying?
Doors open. You got to open both the doors.
I had the fan blowing hot air, circulating.
That big old fan circulating that hot air.
just pure work though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, respect.
I know nobody is doing this. And this what just drove me to like fall in love with that process. Like
Mm.
I knew nobody was waking up, especially my teammates, especially the other competition. I'm like, ain't nobody getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Ain't nobody putting up, you know what I'm saying? To make 500 shots, I'm shooting probably 2,000, 3,000 shots at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know ain't nobody doing this twice, 3 times a day. You know what I'm saying? The weight room was in the washing machine. The washing machine right here. We got the leg press in between the washing machine and the dryer. Like I'm doing extra sets. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I was just doing. That's just where my mentality was. So you talking about the structure. That's how it was.
Right.
So then I go back to my dorm room. I wash up, go to class to about 12, 1 o'clock, be done with my day with academics. Right back in the gym after that, grabbing a coach, man. I need you for 2-3 hours. Be in the
So
gym.
Mike, how long would you say that that you kept this ritual throughout the summer?
Yeah. Like I said, I stayed both summer sessions. Like I stayed the full summer. Like I didn't go home at all.
So that's what, 2 months, 3 months?
About 3.5 months.
About 3.5 months.
Yeah, about
and
3.5 months.
I'd say, that would, that level of consistency, right, of doing that work. What I see today, and Coach, let me know your thoughts. But I see a lot of young kids who believe that hard work is, going to the gym 3-4 hours in a day, right? Doing that 2-3 times a week, or twice a week, spending 3-4 hours in the gym, or working hard for a couple of days, and not necessarily they don't necessarily understand that it's about consistency, right? So if you're going to put in work, it's more important to be consistent with whatever work it is that you're doing than to get in and try to break a neck or get better in a day. It's not like it's not microwaving a dinner. You just get it, put it in, and you eat. But you actually gotta learn how to be a farmer, right? So you're doing your little work consistently over time, and you consistently get better over time and able to add more things to to your tool belt. What do you see, Coach, in your world as far as the guys that are being consistent with their work?
Well, the guys who are being consistent with their work, those are the guys that are seeing results. Mike said that he knew that nobody was working like that. And that's what stood out for me when he said that. And he's right. If you want to be good at this game, you got to be committed and you got to be disciplined. Mike, you were committed and disciplined at that junior college, which is why you didn't go home, why you didn't go back to Milwaukee, because that was a distraction. So for you and your commitment and your discipline, that was what allowed you and catapulted your game where that jump shot was money. So you see that in the NBA with those players who continue to work. Work is not just what you do, it just becomes a part of who you are. That every day you got to put in work. And one thing you had, Mike, was a routine. Pros have routines. They have a routine. Your routine was that I was going to make 1,000 shots per day. And I think if you stick to that and you stay committed to that, you will begin to see the improvement in your game. And it does something for you, not only physically, from a physical standpoint of doing the work, it's your mentality. It's your mentality. So that's what I see every day. It's not, listen, it's not no secret formula of success. It's doing the work and being committed to it. And honestly, you hit on something, DC. You said that you've seen younger players, they want to do it 2 or 3 days a week. Well, that's not enough. You got to do it every day. And believe me, this is just my personal opinion. I can be wrong. I'm not a no days off type of guy. I think that's a bunch of horse shit. I do believe in rest, but I do believe in putting in work. You know, you can say to yourself as a young player, look, on Monday, you can even go, hey, on Monday through Friday, I'm going to work out at this time from this 2 hours, then I'm going to grab this other 2 hours and be consistent with that, doing the right thing, and say, I'm going to rest my body these 2 days and get ready to rev up. And I believe you can get better. But just like you said, the inconsistencies of some of the young players, that's where you can get yourself in trouble. But hey, Mike said at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was tapping on that window, and that was big.
I didn't know no other way. Like I didn't know what rest was. You know what I'm saying? At that stage, I don't think you got time for rest right now. I didn't feel like I earned time to rest. I wanted, my goal in my head was I felt like I was a Division I player. Right. But in junior college, it's 12 guys, especially at my junior college, it was 12 guys that was Division I players.
All could.
Right. So that was how I was creating my separation. And I created trust within my coach because he knew that rain, sleet, snow, whatever, however the game was going, he knew what I was going to bring because I was waking him up in the morning, knocking on his door, holding him accountable, right?
Right.
So that was something that made our relationship just a little bit better on the court. You know what I'm saying? He knew that he could trust me because he knew that I was going to go to whatever measure it was, I was going to get the job done. And, you know, if we speaking to this younger crowd, I think that's kind of what they don't see. You know what I'm saying? They see the shots going in and they think they could just come in the gym and just shoot them shots and they go in. Like, nah. Steph Curry done shot 1 million of them shots.
Hey,
he know exactly how high, he know exactly, you know, he don't even gotta flick his wrist all the way no more. Like, but you gotta make sure your wrist is all the way down until that ball hit the ground. Like, it's just certain proper mechanics that, you know what I'm saying, that consistency and just learning your shot and just learning your game, that it irons out all of those wrinkles. And that's the mentality that you know, got me through junior college, got me to Iowa State. Like, this the year when I'm at Iowa State, this the year Kevin Durant is at Texas. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from 4 to 10 leading scorer in the Big 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see Kevin Durant #1, a few names down, you see Mike Taylor. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that I had that talent. I knew that I had that skill, right? Because everything that I put myself through with training, and then my training at my junior college was similar to that, if not more, when I went to the university, because that's where I always wanted to be. But then my best friend died. My mom had started to get sick going into my latter part of my junior college year, and that translated over. That was like my support system. It kind of started to break down at Iowa State. So, you know, and then it's just like at those times, like now college players is able to make money off their likeness, and you know, it's a different game. Like we were saying, like you were saying earlier, like kids are able to go to the Ignite team into the G League and be in front of and get paid for their game. Like, I'm seeing my jersey being sold in the bookstore and not a penny is coming to me or my family. So that was one of the things that I was looking at this time. And I'm like, why do I gotta go to the school? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like at this point, and it's coming to a point to where like I gotta start helping my family. I gotta start putting some money up for my family. I'm at this critical point in my life. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of some of the things that kind of led to those troubles off the court for me at Iowa State. And I ended up, you know, losing my scholarship. Like
there, Mike, would you say from my experience, there is a definite transition in mentality when you're going from uh there's a difference in mentality when you're going from high school to junior college,
Correct.
right? And when you're going from junior college to university,
For sure.
right? Because a lot of guys at junior college would say, my experience in junior college and everybody that the guys I went to school with, and we used to say like, man, we were better than our university,
For sure.
right? I mean, way more talent than our university and hungrier, right, than the
Sure.
cats at the university. Well, I wouldn't say way more talent. You might have had maybe a guy or two that was just at another level, right? But
Really.
well, actually, we had those guys in junior college, right?
That's
But
why,
Well,
that's why
but
I
it
was
was
saying.
you went to South Plains. I mean, that's a
so
that's
it
a
but
perennial power.
yeah, but there was definitely a difference in mindset, and I think for a lot of guys when they get on a college campus, a university campus, what you have, what you didn't have at a junior college is more access to more things to
Right.
pull that can pull you away from your craft, right? When you're at a junior college in a small city and it's dog eat dog every day just to get on the court, but also the things that can pull you away aren't as glamorous as getting to the university,
For sure.
right? And then and what I saw a lot of guys, what happened is once they get to the university, especially if they're like top dogs at the university, they almost feel like they're already a pro, right? They
Yeah.
almost feel like they're already a pro, and they can lose sight of that grind or a little bit or that discipline that they had in order to get to that university. Do you feel like you experienced any of that, Mike?
Oh man, I experienced it at an all-time high. The distractions is definitely more from just the classroom sizes. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, like the distractions are college parties are way more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just everything is maximized times 20.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it didn't help it. Like I was in Iowa and it was all white state pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And I was the best player on my college team. You know what I'm saying? So definitely the distractions off the court, you know what I'm saying, was glamorized even more. And then it's like I'm a notable face. Like I can't go nowhere without somebody noticing, oh, y'all just played Minnesota the other day and you had 35. Like I couldn't go nowhere without being seen, whether it was positive or it was negative. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, that distraction is definitely there. But it never, for me, it never took away from my work on the court.
The mission.
And I was still tied into my mission. I was still locked into the game. Like I love the game. So it was everything outside of the game that was kind of pulling me away and deteriorating, you know what I'm saying, my mental focus on the overall goal.
Well, you're older now, so now looking back at hindsight is 2020. What do you think that would have helped you a little bit more when you made that transition? Now you're on a high level Division I campus. You got a name. Your name is buzzing. What would have helped you with those distractions now that you look at it now as an older gentleman versus when you were 19, 20 years old?
I think I know that it's, you know what I'm saying, your supporting cast, right?
Right.
Who you have that's in your ear, that's telling you the truth, not telling you, oh bro, you finna be the top 10 picking. Not those voices. It's those voices that's like, yo, is you going to class? Like, is you making sure that, you know what I'm saying, you handling your business off the court? Like, yeah, you can, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you doing good on the court, but how are you mentally? You know what I'm saying? I think that was what I was losing. Like I said, I lost my best friend in a car accident. My mom was, sick. She got, drugged and, what I'm saying, at one of her outings with her coworkers and stuff like that. And she was a diabetic. So that kind of like, that was my structure. You know what I'm saying? My mom and my best friend, that was like my structure. Like nowadays, like, these players are having this a support system where they got their mom, where they got their trainer, they got this system in place that's like, yo, you falling off course, like what's going on with you? They're able to voice some of the frustrations or some misunderstandings. Like I didn't have that safe haven to where I could talk about death. I couldn't go to my coaches and be like, yo, this is what I'm going through. This is how I feel. So I would go into practice some days and get kicked out of practice just because, I'm thinking about my best friend, or I'm thinking about my mom, or I'm thinking about, got to send my paycheck check back home. You know what I'm saying? So my family can eat. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times my mind wasn't the main focus was on me being the best basketball player so I could help my family even better. You know what I'm saying? Then at the moment, you know what I'm saying? I think that was, like now in 2020, 2021, like it's common for us to talk about mental health. It's common for us to voice like, yo, my mind messed up right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more like we have those spaces to talk about, these areas in which we're suffering in. Like I was going through a stage to where I didn't feel comfortable talking to my coaches. I felt like, that would knock my stardom down for me to go to them and be like, yo, man, like my best friend died in a car accident. One of my friends just got shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what's going on back home. I felt like I didn't have that space to really open up and talk about those issues, to just let it out and really focus on the task at hand, the talent that I had. You know what I'm saying? So those were some of the things that, I was going through. I was having my friends come from Milwaukee, living on campus. You know what I'm saying? If I had that guy there, it was like, nah, bro, you got to keep Milwaukee where Milwaukee at. You got to keep college where college at. It was like my boundaries and my borders weren't there. You know
Now, Tim, I got a question for you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been a part of quite a few different, I'd say circles, right, of athletes who have played, various levels. And what what has been consistent, right, as far as my experience has been that most guys who make it to a level, right, let's say make it to high major Division 1, right, most guys who make it to that level, they make it to where they got all eyes on them, right? Everybody, I mean, they're living a different life, and even those who probably don't ascend to that level, but most of them have some people, right, who are telling them those type things, right? So I'd like to know, really, were these things that people, the type of advice that you probably, in hindsight, you would have taken. Is it accurate to say that maybe you were given the advice, but it wasn't people that you trusted in the point to listen to it? It wasn't necessarily that these things weren't said. It just wasn't coming from people that you trusted and people that had earned your respect for you to actually act on them. Would you say that's like it?
No, I would say like you hitting the nail on the head with that. I was getting the advice. I was getting it to a certain extent, but I wasn't comfortable with even diving into that space with them. I wasn't comfortable with the relationship. I didn't trust, right? Like that was something that came up earlier. Like I wasn't trustworthy of the people who was, looking out for my best interest. And then I was just in a terrible space mentally at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So with both of those kind of, dangling and at a unbalance and an imbalance, um, it did exactly what happened in my career. I ended up losing my basketball scholarship. Like, I think that's, I think you said it like complete. I didn't have, and I take full responsibility, you know what I'm saying, in that aspect, looking back on it now. Like it doesn't, like now I'm in a space to where it doesn't matter where the source come from, where the information come from. It matters if I'm taking it in and I'm able to, you know what I'm saying, use it in the
Process
right
it
light.
for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's all that
Yeah.
matters. It don't matter if a blue face guy come out the sky and be like, yo, this is what it is. Da, 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 da. I'm gonna be like, hold on, is it right? Is that real? And then I'm gonna make the process that I need to take it now. But back then it was like, no, you gotta be my guy. You gotta be my homeboy. Like I gotta look up to you. I gotta respect you. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't respect you. What you know about the streets? What you know about the hood? You a white man, and you know what I'm saying? Like that was just the mentality that I was in, and I didn't have to respect there. I didn't have to trust there. But now being older and looking back, it's like it doesn't matter where the knowledge coming from. It doesn't matter who is giving it to you. It's like how can you process it? How can you use it to better yourself? You know what I'm saying? And that was just a big thing for me at that time in that space that I was in. Like I felt like I had to have like that respect. I felt like that trust, that trustworthiness had to be in place in order for me to listen to it. It had to be presented to me in a way that I could like break it down and I can interpret it on my level of understanding at that time. I wasn't like I didn't even like the plays that the coach was calling on the court, right? So how was I gonna listen to him when he was telling me certain things that I should or shouldn't be doing in my personal life? You know what I'm saying? So I take full responsibility on that now, and that's something that I want to give out. Like it don't matter who that voice is. You gotta have that gauge in yourself to know that there's some stuff that I could take with me and become a better person. Like, and that's been one of my biggest things. And I like to tell everybody around, it's like you can be this great basketball player all you want to, but if you're not this great person in life, like what you doing? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna die being a great basketball player, but an ain't shit person. Like nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like that, it just don't add up. You know, if you could take your mind and your body through all of this, all of this work to craft yourself into this person, like you can transform your life in that way too. And I just didn't have that knowledge of both of them together at the same time. You know
Well,
what I'm
that comes with wisdom,
Maturity,
right?
Yeah,
So
maturity,
you have to
wisdom,
live and
experience.
experience. And Coach Chad, I had spoken with one of Coach Chad's old coaches, Thad McGrew, and one of the
Thaddeus McGrew, K-Swift Pacers, TPI, California Team Select.
and that's and obviously Chad and Thad had a really good relationship where Chad trusted Thad, and that was one of the things that Thad had pointed out when we were talking about Chad. He was like, yo, that was my guy. He was like my diamond stone, and we just rocked it out. And Coach, from your experience, right, you had that guy. How was it for you with obviously you had good size and all that, and everybody just drools over a guy. How was it for you as a player, being able to trust other people outside of that circle, and whether it was trust to give them your ear to actually listen to some of the advice they were giving you, or even act on it, outside of the relationship that you had with Thad, who actually had your respect and your trust?
Well, it was huge for me. I grew up similar. I grew up in Inglewood, California. Raised by my mother, who my mom was outstanding. I pretty much was a middle class kid. I wasn't no kid that, I had to steal. I didn't have to do none of that stuff. Now I got in trouble, but it wasn't because I needed to do something like that. We had very humble beginnings, but my mother, she worked her way up in the working world to make sure that she could provide for me. But with that being said, because she was providing for me, mom's wasn't around a lot because she had to work. You hear that, that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. So I was very fortunate. I had a village, a lady by the name of Ruth Sendeas. She was an older lady, and she opened up her home to me. She had a great nephew by the name of Derek Hutchins, who to this day I call him my cousin. Blood couldn't make us any closer. We literally grew up together from the time we came out the womb. So I had a village. When my mom wasn't around, I would be at Miss Ruth house, and she was a woman who was a God-fearing woman, a church-going woman. So my mom was the same way, but younger. So, I didn't have my dad around. I didn't get to know my father until I got much older. I was a full-grown adult. So for me, my basketball beginnings was very slow. I was a big guy who developed very slow. Didn't really start playing or getting really serious about the game and playing organized until I was like 12, 13 years old. So for me, I didn't really trust male figures. Thad will tell you, I didn't say much when we first met. To this day, I'm very observant. So I just observed and watched. But Thad saw something in me. He saw this young, skinny dude with big old feet walking around, and he saw something in me that at that particular time I didn't see in myself. So over time, I saw how he treated the other players, how he developed relationship with parents. And, when I very first met that, he asked me to play for his team. So for me, I'm like, all right, that's cool, but you gotta talk to my mom, bro. And he's like, no problem, I'm gonna talk to your mom. But for me, I'm like, yeah, all right, because my mom was no joke. So I'm like, this dude thinks he's about to talk to my mom. I'm gonna play for his team. It's not going down like that. So sure enough, he talked to my mother, had a good discussion with my mom, and my mom said she wanted me to play for this man. And I was blown away. I said, if he can talk to my mother and get me to join his team, and my mom don't trust nobody and she don't play no games, it's something special about this dude. So I released my grip a little bit, just a little bit. So I said, I'm gonna see how this thing gonna go. Over time, I'm skipping a lot of stuff here, but I began to trust him. I began to have that trust that Mike talked about. And, we began to travel all over the country, going to Vegas, going out to Florida, Virginia, going out to, Georgia, just going all over the country playing and getting that exposure that I otherwise wouldn't have had. It changed my life. But that I say this all the time to young coaches, not even young coaches, coaches in general, because I think it's something that a lot of coaches miss. A basketball player is not just a tool. It's not just a object. It's a person. So I don't care what level you coach on. I've been fortunate to coach at the Division I college level. And I've been fortunate enough to be in my 6th season working in the NBA. And I understand that when I have a Mike Taylor, it can't be, hey, Mike, let's do some finishes. Let's do some ball handling. Let's do this, and this, and that. I got to say, hey, Mike, what's going on, man? You doing all right today? You know, how was your night? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing today? You know, you got family in town. You know, how's your children? How's, you know, you treat that person like a human being, not just a object, not just a person that could put the ball in the hole. And I believe that's where you begin to build that trust. Now Mike says, Chad, how's your son CJ doing? He getting tall, man. That boy's getting tall. Now we have a relationship. Now the base of our relationship, which is basketball, becomes stronger. Now I trust Mike more. Mike trusts me more because we got a deeper relationship. We go on the road, we land. Hey, Mike, what you doing? Oh, I'm not doing nothing tonight. Hey, man, let's go to Maestro's, man. Let's have a steak, man. Just kick it and watch the game tonight. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff means something. And now he feels like I'm not just this coach that's telling him, hey, we about to shoot 5 middies and then we're gonna do 5 catch and shoot threes, and then we're gonna come off the balls. That stuff is cool. It's the root of what the coach and the player is there for. But don't forget that you have to build a relationship in order to get a certain level of trust. All the great athletes in this world, at some point, they trusted their coach or their trainer. I don't care what sport you go to. So you have to cover that, and you have to go over that, because like Mike said, it's a different day and age with mental health. It's a different day and age with players feeling comfortable to express themselves. So you got to know the individual you're around. And once you understand that, you can better serve the player. As a coach, I became a coach because I want to serve players. It feels good for me to be able to serve a player. And I also want to help out from where I might have fell short. I unfortunately didn't have the Mike Taylor mentality of I'm staying 2 semesters. I had the mentality, I'm gonna stay 1 semester. I live in LA. I'm gonna play in that Say No Classic every Saturday and Sunday. I'm gonna still get my work in, but I'm still gonna run around with my friends. You see what I'm saying? So that's just my thoughts. And I know I said a lot.
No, you touched on some really good things, Coach. And I think, really, obviously, those things, it was directed, or not even directed, but, you touched on some points in which, coaches can take away how they communicate and build relationships with the players, and vice versa, how the players can build, also, be receptive of and build relationships with coaches. I go a step further and say, these were things that I had really pushed for with a young kid named Darius Adams, who I coached in China with, right?
Okay.
And Darius, Darius was a monster in China. He led the league in scoring, all this good stuff. Just for sure a top 30, just point guard in the world, but he never, he wouldn't get a shot at the NBA right now at this point in time in his career, just because of his age, but he's phenomenal. But what he didn't do a good job of, he wasn't a good teammate. Right? And no one liked playing with him. Right? And so, I almost felt like I got the job to manage him and Andre Bloch, really. Okay. Right? They both they were interesting individuals to coach. But either way, I built a lot of trust with him. And then in turn, what he was able to buy into was, before practice, I used to get him in practice. We'd work out early enough so that when other players came early to shoot, he would pass them the ball. I'd rebound and he'd pass. And he just let the guys get all the shots that they wanted. He made it all about them, right? And they never experienced that. Now, they weren't going to experience too much of that in the game, because Darius for sure was going to shoot the ball, right? But it did build a higher level of trust, not only for his teammates out of him, but even him and his teammates, seeing these guys could really shoot the ball and knowing, getting more familiar with where they like to, catch the ball and all that. And then, that, boiled over to off the court. And then when that came together, as far as, Darius, trusting the other guys and the other guys trusting him and stuff, and it turned our whole season around, and we ended up winning the CBA championship. And I do believe because of, him being open and reciprocal to building, fostering a healthier relationship with his teammates. So those things are important and things that we can learn, for all our relationships. But for players to be better teammates, that's important as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's major, because when you go to war with somebody, you want to know they got your back. And when you have turmoil or there's no chemistry there, that definitely has a high effect on your team. So what Darius did in China, that right there, they didn't win the championship on the floor. They won it on the floor, but they won it because of what he did, and what Andre did. Otherwise, I don't think, and this is just me personally, I think that team might not have won it. But
no, it's accurate.
Things happen for them to win that championship.
I mean, I can speak to that too. I mean, and that's kind of the formula that I use. I've won 7 championships overseas.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? And that was the formula that I began to understand, right? Like if I'm the best player on the team and I'm coming to practice an hour and a half early, getting my shots up, because I know that in the game, this is where I'm going to be at. I'm getting comfortable. And also, I'm staying after practice another hour. You know what I'm saying? I'm overseas. When I go home, I don't even understand what they saying on the television half of the time. You know what I'm saying? But for my teammates to see me there in a full sweat before they even get there, some guys had jobs, some guys had school, but for them to see me in a full sweat, I got to take a shower, you know what I'm saying, and change my jersey before I even get to do what coach is saying in practice. And I'm still killing that. They like, hold on, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And then for them to see me after practice, like, man, if y'all ain't got nowhere to be after practice, come and get some shots up. Like, because when I do pass you the ball, if I do pass you the ball, I need you to knock that shot down.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it was like just my teammates saying like, damn, this the best player, the quickest player on the team. He playing defense. You know what I'm saying? And he doing all of this. I'm in a weight room. I'm doing stuff when coach ain't even asking us to do it. I'm like, man, come on, y'all come to the weight room if y'all ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? So just building that trustworthiness off the court. Yes. That's how I think that, you know what I'm saying, that trustworthy on the court. Like they looking for me, you know what I'm saying? Like they ain't even taking some dribbles sometimes. They just looking to get the ball to my hands because they know either if I don't got the shot, I'm gonna make the right pass, I'm gonna make the right decision. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it was the team against the coach, right? And me being the extension of the coach, I had to tell the coach, like, look, I'm on your team, but at the same time, you drilling these players over here. I need you to, you know what I'm saying, encourage them sometimes, because the overseas coaches sometimes they drill their players, they just cutthroat with their players. And now this shot that this person would normally hit, they ain't hitting that shot in the game because they thinking about what the coach gonna say and how the coach gonna be on their ass for taking that shot. And I just had to tell the coach, like, let me kind of talk to him a little bit about that shot. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna give him confidence and say, maybe that wasn't a good shot. The coach ain't finna say, maybe that wasn't a good shot. You know what I'm saying? Make the extra pass. The coach go, you mother, in their language. And now his whole pride, his whole confidence done for the whole game. He don't even want to play defense. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to see, like, me being the best talent on the floor and the best talent for my team, like the extra work, them trusting me off the court, them trusting me on the court. They would come to me after games, like just come in my room and just sit in there for hours and just talk about, you know what I'm saying, their life and just talk about stuff. And, you know what I'm saying, I was able to take that formula that you was talking about over there in China and just take that into every situation I was in, every country that I was in. And like, look, this how I'm gonna play. Y'all gotta be on this level. You know what I'm
Quick
saying?
question for you, Mike. Who was your vet when you were in the NBA? I think you with the Clippers, right?
Okay.
Who was your vet?
Yeah. I had Katino Mobley, Baron Davis, Zach Randolph, Ricky Davis, Marcus Camby, Chris Kaman. I had some workers. Jason Hart. I had
Shout out
Jason
to Jay
Hart.
Hart.
Man,
Shout out to Jay
Jay
Hart, man. Head coach of the
Like,
G League at night. Shout out to BD, LA's
man,
finest.
for sure. Shout out to Katino Mobley, man. Like, I learned so much from him. He was like, you know, being a rookie, we got to be there 2 hours, 3 hours before
Right.
the real deal start. Katino was there. We playing one-on-ones, one dribble, no dribble, two dribble, just in different spots. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of broke down the game for me in that aspect. And he just showed me what a true pro looked like. Always had his shirt tucked in. You know what I'm saying? He was just a pro's pro. You know what I'm saying? So I took a lot of that from him. Barron was kind of going through some injury phases. You know, coming in with the Clippers that first year I was there. I learned a lot from Zach Randolph, just his approach, his mentality. Marcus Camby, like just their approach to the game was so professional. Man, I learned a lot. Those was my vets. But in the G League, well, it was the D League at the time when I was there. Right. I had Randy Livingston.
Shout out to Randy, man.
wow.
Dirty Red, man. I played with Randy
Red.
Livingston and with the Idaho Stampede. Shout out to Randy, man.
I remember when Randy was the #1 player in the country.
High school.
Yes.
Randy was that dude. What
was that, like 1992, 93, something like that?
No, he was 90.
It was like 94 or something like that.
No. Actually, 94 was Felipe Lopez. So he may have been 93.
93, yeah. Shout out to Dirty Red, man. Out of New Orleans.
Straight from New Orleans, LSU all that, right?
Yeah.
But that was like when I lost my scholarship at Iowa State, Idaho Stampede. That was the team who took a chance on me after, you know, everything that went down. And Randy was the man. He was the one who taught me the pro game. You know what I'm saying? I was quick, fast, and athletic. He was posting me up 94 feet. Like, look, this the play I'm finna run. Matter of fact, I'm finna send this player on that side and I'm about to do the pick and roll and drop like he breaking the X and O down, right? And he just manipulating the game, putting everybody in their spots and teaching me the game in that aspect. So, I mean, I give everything to Randy. This one, the Idaho Stampede, we won that championship that year, right? I was like the 6 to 8 man off the bench. It's like a little spark plug coming off the bench. And, you know, that's what really, you know, opened a lot of the NBA eyes to my talent. You know, they knew about me from Iowa State, but just how things went down at the end of my career in college, in collegiate basketball, I just took a whole new approach. You know, I was, man, like y'all saying, that trust and that respect, I just gave it to my coaches. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that this was a chance for me to fulfill this dream that I had of being an NBA. So I was like, whatever these coaches had to say, whatever they needed me to do, I was going to do it. Plus, I was in the weight room. I was first to practice, last to leave. Like, even if I'm just acting like I'm stretching, I didn't even need to stretch. I was going to make sure that I was the last person there. And that's how Randy was like, man, what is you still doing in here? I was like, oh, I was just coming from upstairs lifting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to make sure I'm the last person out the gym. I don't know why, but I'm just, you know what I'm saying? He like, man, why are you still here? I'm just trying to be the last one here. He's like, all right, well, let's go to eat. Let's go do this. And then that's how I just started to pick his brain. Like, bro, I'm trying to get to the NBA. You know, I never put my name in the NBA draft. I lost my scholarship at Iowa State. He like, you probably can get drafted. Like, and that's how it started to come. I'm like, I always wanted to get drafted. You know what I'm saying? That's my dream. And they always used to come to me like, why are you not taking these call-ups? Like, why are you not? At first, I didn't even know what a call-up was. You know what I'm saying? So that was why I was like, I'm not taking a call-up because I don't know what it is. But then in the back of my mind, it's like, if I take a call-up, can I get drafted? And I didn't have the answer to that yet. So I was, you know what I'm saying? I was asking my agent, like, yo, like, I had like 17, 18 call-ups. And I just passed on every last one of them. Because I'm like, this only 10 days. I may only last 10 days on a call-up. But if I get drafted, does that give me, you know what I'm saying, a longer course of time to really display that I had this talent? So my agent was like,
so
man,
Mike, let me
go ahead.
not to start to interrupt you.
No,
Like
it's all
you,
good.
you are a special individual because nobody ever got drafted from what used to be called the D League, now called the G League, into the NBA. So, like, talk about that. You turned down about 10 days, which for those listening out there, I played in the D League. A 10-day is like finding a diamond on the ground. You're not just going to throw it down. You're going to take that. But obviously you saw a bigger picture, which you were able to do something that never had been done in NBA history. So let's talk about that a little bit more. And what was that like, the draft process and all that stuff?
Man, it was a crazy, crazy, crazy time. You know what I'm saying? And now being able to look back, almost 15 years now, you know what I'm saying? To look back into that is like, I thought it was going to be bigger than what it was. You know what I'm saying? And it's just now starting to be a thing to where players are now, skipping college to go play. Cause I skipped my senior year in college to go play in the G League. Like, so now players are like completely skipping college altogether to go play in the G League. High schoolers are skipping college to go play in the G League. So now it's becoming what I did in 2008. It's becoming popular. What I did in 2007, 2008, now it's starting to become a thing. I thought as soon as I did it, it was just going to catch the masses and it was going to be like, yo, this is the first player in history to ever be done. And it still hasn't caught that fire like how it has. But I feel like in the next couple of years, once these players from the G League start to be drafted into the NBA, it's going to be like, yo, who was the first player to actually do this? And then they're going to do the track record. They're going to run it back and be like, yo, this was the kid who actually started this thing.
They got to mention you.
My name has to come up in this topic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's history. You know what I'm saying? But along that course, man, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just chasing a dream. And my dream was to be drafted. I wanted my name called by David Stern. But David Stern didn't call my name. The commissioner now called my name, right? He was doing the second round, and I was the 55th pick. I felt like, the Clippers had kind of, man, where I don't even know where to start, to be honest, right? So let's say going back into the G League, it's a showcase that's in the D League.
Yeah, the showcase, G League showcase. Yeah,
G League showcase, right? It's where all the teams, they come. It's like an all-star. It's like a baby all-star weekend where all the teams come and they play a tournament. All the NBA scouts are there assessing the talent. And this was where like I really broke out. When I first got to the G League, I'm gonna call it the D League. I like calling it the D League because that's, you know what I'm saying? That's what I coined that. You know what I'm saying? So when I first got to the D League, man, I had a rude awakening, bro. Like, I first got there. I wasn't playing at all. Like, I wasn't getting no time. So like when I first got to the G League, I practiced for maybe 4 days. And Torian Green had got called down from the Portland Trailblazers. And I was the last person to get there. I was just there for 4 days. The coach came to me and was like, yo, the NBA called down this player. That's your spot. He has to take your spot. And I'm like, I ain't even play a game yet. Like, I didn't even get a jersey yet. I just practiced. And they was like, yo, we don't know how long he's going to be here. Maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month maximum. But that's your spot. So we got to let you go home. So they like, do you want to stay for practice the next 2 days and then go home? Or do you just want to leave? I'm like, he coming when? He coming tonight? I get to practice against him? I'm like, oh yeah, I want to stay the next 2 days and see what this talent is. I want to test myself. When I say I ripped him, man, I ripped a new hole in him. I was putting that press on them, you know what I'm saying? Full court, stealing the ball from them. But I was really just letting the coaches know, like, this really need to be my spot. You know what I'm saying? So I got sent home. This was early December. I got sent home. They called me back on Christmas Eve. I'm answering the phone. My mama in front of me. I'm like, they're like, you ready? I'm like, for what? They're like, to come back to Idaho. I'm like, it's Christmas Eve. They're like, yeah, we got a flight for you tonight at 8:00. I'm like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? It's my dream. So I got to get off the phone with my mama, like, Ma, I got to go. She like, but it's Christmas. I'm like, look, I got to go.
Gotta go.
Yeah, I got to go. You know what I'm saying? So I get back, in Idaho, and, coaches, they excited for me. They ready for me to be a, addition to the team. My first few games, man, I'm telling you, I play like 30 seconds. But I'm killing in practice. Like, I'm one of the best players on the team, I feel like, in my eyes. But, just the system, how everything going, I'm getting like 30 seconds. But within this 30 seconds, I'm getting a steal, fast break, dunk, game over. You know what I'm saying? 30 seconds led to a minute. Minute lead to 3 minutes. 3 minutes ended up, you know what I'm saying, me getting to like 7 minutes. 7 minutes, I get like 15 minutes now. Now I'm in a flow of the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6 to 8 men off the bench now. But I wanted to mention that because, that was like the hard road, the long road. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm just about to come in and get right in the mix. I'm one of the youngest players in the G League. Like, Randy Livingston was like 33 at this time, and he was the starting point guard. I'm coming in, I'm 20 years old, 21 years old, can beat him up and down the court. I'm thinking I'm just supposed to have that spot. But it was just a lot of things that I had to learn about the game before I got acclimated into the system. And, just being a part of that championship team, I felt that, I was ahead of every collegiate player, right? I knew the 3 seconds on the defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could shoot the NBA 3-point line. You know what I'm saying? I understood the spacing and positioning that you had to be on. I knew the pro terminology. In college, we wasn't getting that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I felt like, I had this advantage on every college player, but my background is what really kind of hurted me and dropped my stock. The Clippers actually said that they were going to pick me with their 35th pick. But DeAndre Jordan, who was projected to be a top 10 pick, he slid all the way to 35. So they called me like, yo, we can't give up this 7-foot player who, he led the Clippers in like block shots and rebounds and still to this day. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, we can't pass on this. We can't pass on this talent, but we trying to get a sign and trade with you right now. So I ended up going 55th to the Clippers, got drafted by Portland, which was the affiliate from the G League, and they traded me straight to the Clippers. So, man, it was a dream come true. You know what I'm saying? And then just going through the draft process. That was something that was like totally different because, I kind of like took myself out of the collegiate thing. I was just, I'm watching film on the pros and in the G League and stuff like that. So playing against, going back into the draft, like the combines and all that stuff, playing against college players, I felt like I was like ahead, right? Because everything that they was explaining, it was new to some of these guys. It was their first time hearing some of the terminology, the spacing and stuff. But I was already in the G League, so I already knew what to do. It was like second nature to me. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of helped my draft stock a lot. But I felt like, I was in the Clippers around that the Donald Sterling era, right? I just felt like the ownership and the leadership that was, controlling the politics behind the, the organization. I felt like I kind of got, cheated out of an opportunity. No player with the Clippers, like they didn't really sign no players that was, second round picks or like third string. They never renewed a contract with any player. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I did enough. I got a record in the NBA for the most points scored in Madison Square Garden by a rookie. And this was like towards the ending of the year to where I felt like it was really starting to click for me, but then my contract was, it was the team option and they let my contract go. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I had a great year. Like I felt like I had one of the best years for a rookie that year. I averaged like almost 6 points in like 15 minutes. I was a solid backup for Barron, Jason Hart. It was just a whole different ball game. And then LA was just, the lifestyle here was just something totally different than what I was used to, coming from Milwaukee, coming from Idaho, Iowa, Florida. You know what I'm saying? I was coming from all of these, different areas in LA, man. It's a monster. You know what I'm saying? If you're just getting indoctrinated into the culture out here, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was just a lot of little things that I felt like I was shorted in my little stints in the NBA. But man, I felt like I gave it my all. And I still feel like, I could still add value on that level, especially to like a G League Ignite team or something like that, to even have an opportunity to, fall in a third string point guard spot.
Right. Okay. I want to get into that. We gotta cut it short here, and I don't mean to cut you off because you got a great story. I think for what we got now, it's kind of a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's good because now when we do the real one, we know where to get to and cover the things you already talked about, and then bridge into what you're saying, because I want you to go into talk about that draft process, talk about your rookie year, and then talk about your transition overseas, becoming a grand champion +2. So I know Deshawn got to give that phone back. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, I really, really appreciate what you're doing, brother. You got an amazing story. I think it's super important because what's going on today. And it's also super important because you did something that never been done. And I think our episode you're going to blow them out of the water. And I think younger kids, coaches, whoever, basketball enthusiasts and purists, they need to hear this. So if that's cool with you, let's do it like that, because I know Deshawn, he has to get that phone back. But like I said, I appreciate your time, man. You got an amazing, amazing story, bro.
No,
Like,
I appreciate you. I got your contact. So let's
okay,
just, you know what I'm saying, stay on. If we gotta
yeah,
do it just voice, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like and
we gonna get it.
just walk it through. Like, man, we gonna get it. I feel like this time is, you know what I'm saying, the time is now, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying, for me
sir.
to actually take advantage of the story before it actually hit that
Yeah,
wave. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I feel like this is that crucial wave right now. And
yeah,
then just
absolutely.
everything that I'm doing off the court. I kind of want to, like I shared with DC, the comic book that I'm working on, just speaking about some of the same issues that we talking about, these adversities, the trust, the you know what I'm saying, the abandonment, my father not being in my life, just some of these things that I started to introduce into a comic book type of way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna send it over. I got your phone
Yeah.
number.
Yes,
I'm gonna send
please
it over
do.
to you. Got your email too as
Yes,
well. So
please do. Send that to me. And we got to make sure we give you a little segment where you touch on your comic book, where the people to find you at, your social media, so that we can have it full circle for you. I think it's gonna be an amazing episode. I'm telling you, like, for this to be our first one, we're really, really lucky to have somebody like you on. So I'm
Man, that's
excited.
dope. That's dope. I'm used to being the first at stuff. So let's do it some
Hey, it's only
justice. You
right.
feel me?
It's only right. It's only
It's
right.
only right.
All
But I
right, my
appreciate
man,
your
Mike.
time,
I
bro.
appreciate you, man. I'll be talking to you soon, brother.
All right, for sure.
All right, peace.
Later. Hey, I'm finna text you. I'm gonna text you.
Okay.
Denise still
Yes.
working with the Clippers?
Yeah.
Man, that's my girl. I need to get in contact with her too.
Okay. Text me so I can link you up.
All right, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.